Moving on to other stories now. As the Korean economy faces mounting uncertainties, the government slashes its growth outlook for next year to below 3%. It also laid out a number of policy guidelines to tackle the risks head-on. Kim Min-ji looks into the latest digits.
With a wealth of uncertainties ahead, the Korean government has slashed its economic growth outlook to 2.6% for next year, down from an earlier forecast of 3%. This would potentially put the country's growth in the 2% range for the third consecutive year.
The recovery in the global economy remains weak, and there are concerns of further rate hikes in the U.S. and increased trade protectionism. At home, consumption is slumping, while growing household debt and corporate restructuring are taking a toll on the economy.
In 2017, the government plans to use expansionary policies to better tackle the uncertainties and bolster the livelihoods of the people and put the economy back on track. To do that, it will allocate a stimulus package worth $16.5 billion, which includes corporate loans from state-run policy lenders and public investment to speed up sputtering growth and generate more jobs. The government will also step up financial and tax incentives to boost investment and encourage consumer spending. As for stabilizing the livelihoods of the people, the government plans to add 60,000 new jobs in the public sector, as well as improve job conditions for workers in general. It will also provide tax breaks for companies that offer full-time work for young job seekers. To address broader social issues like the low birth rate, the government will extend more incentives for married couples and raise maternity leave allowances. And to stay on top of future trends, the government will set up a body comprising public officials and experts to keep policy up to speed with the so-called Fourth Industrial Revolution.
The government has put much focus on fiscal policies, seemingly taking into account the slump in investment and consumption. It's doing what needs to be done, but given the dire economic conditions, as well as a change in leadership after the presidential election next year, the policies may not produce the desired effects.
In an effort to counter the many unknowns at home and abroad, the government plans to use nearly 70% of next year's $330 billion budget in the first half of the year.
Korea is now in a situation where it can only depend on fiscal policy, as it's not in the position to further ease its monetary policy, especially with the recent U.S. rate hike. With growth still feeble and the country's fiscal health relatively sound, there is a growing chance the government could draw up another supplementary budget.
Although the government has said it will look at first-quarter performance before deciding whether to introduce an extra budget, experts say it's important that it places the priority in containing prevailing pessimism, which is already weighing on the economy. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News.